The world had shrunk to the size of a hospital room. Its soundtrack was the rhythmic hiss and beep of the ventilator, the soft squeak of nurses' shoes on linoleum, and the frantic, silent prayer beating against Evelyn's ribs. Her daughter, Chloe, lay motionless in the center of it all, a pale, fragile doll connected to a web of tubes and wires. A sudden, severe bout of bacterial pneumonia had stolen her breath and her consciousness, placing her in the ICU with a 50-50 chance, the doctor had said. The words still hung in the antiseptic air, cold and sharp. Evelyn's phone felt like a lead weight in her hand. For the 20th time in an hour, she dialed her son-in-law, Mark. It rang and clicked over to his infuriatingly cheerful voicemail. "You've reached Mark. Leave a message and make it a good one." "Mark, it's Evelyn again," she whispered, her voice cracking with a fatigue that went bone deep. "They've had to increase her sedation. Her oxygen levels it's not good. Please just call me back. She needs you here." She ended the call and let the phone drop into her lap. Where was he? He'd been vague when she'd called him from the ambulance, muttering something about a critical client meeting he couldn't miss. That was 6 hours ago. The sun was now setting, casting long, melancholy shadows across Chloe's still form. A nurse, a kind woman named Sarah with tired eyes, brought Evelyn a cup of terrible coffee. "Any word from him?" she asked gently. Evelyn just shook her head, the motion stirring a fresh wave of nausea. The man Chloe had married, the charismatic, ambitious financier, had always seemed a little too polished, a little too focused on his own world. But Chloe loved him, had built her life around him, and Evelyn had tried to see the best in him. Now, in this crucible of fear, his absence felt like a profound betrayal. Frustration and a desperate need for connection, any connection, made her thumb open her social media app. It was a mindless scroll, a pathetic attempt to escape the four walls of her terror. And then she saw it. A post from one of Mark's colleagues, Leo. A vibrant, sun-drenched photo of a sleek white yacht cutting through turquoise water. A caption filled with champagne bottle and sunglasses emojis. Closing the biggest deal of the year calls for a proper celebration. Thanks to the legend, Mark Stevens, for sealing it. Living the dream. And there he was. In the center of the photo, shirtless, golden-skinned. A bottle of Dom Perignon in one hand and his other arm around a young, laughing woman in a bikini who was most certainly not her daughter. His head was thrown back in unrestrained laughter, the picture of carefree joy. The world didn't go dark, it went white-hot. Evelyn's breath hitched. The beeping of Chloe's heart monitor seemed to sync with the pounding in her own head. Her daughter was fighting for her life in a sterile, cold room, and her husband was toasting his success surrounded by water, sun, and another woman. The contrast was so violent, so cruel, it felt like a physical blow. An hour. She sat there for a full hour, the phone clutched in her trembling hand, the image burned onto her retinas. The quiet rage solidified into something cold, hard, and purposeful. The grieving, frightened mother was momentarily shelved. In her place rose a lioness, ready to defend her cub with a terrifying clarity. The door to the ICU whooshed open, and there he was. Mark strode in, looking tanned and relaxed. He was still in his boat clothes, linen trousers and a polo shirt, smelling faintly of salt air and expensive cologne. He didn't look at Chloe first. He looked at Evelyn with a practiced, placating smile. "Evelyn's sorry." The meeting ran long, then the client insisted on, "Well, you know how it is. Network He said the word, as if it were a sacred duty. He finally glanced at the bed. "How is she? Stable?" Evelyn didn't speak. She slowly stood up, her body aching. She walked over to him, her eyes never leaving his. She held up her phone, the damning photo displayed in all its glorious horror. The color drained from his face. The smug, relaxed facade crumbled into panic. "Evelyn, that's not what it looks like. That's Leo's cousin. It was a business." "Get out," she said, her voice low, a whisper that carried the force of a gale. "What?" "No, listen to me. "I said get out," she repeated, her voice rising, drawing the attention of the nurses at their station. "You don't get to be here. You don't get to pretend. You forfeited that right the second you chose a party over your wife." He sputtered, trying to regain control. "You're overreacting. This is a high-stress situation. You're not thinking clearly. I have a right to be here." It was then that head nurse Sarah intervened, having heard the raised voices. "Is there a problem here?" she asked, her tone leaving no doubt about whose side she was on. "This is a family matter," Mark snapped, his arrogance flaring. "No," Evelyn said, her voice now clear and steady, ringing with absolute authority. "It's not. You're not my family, and you will not be here when she wakes up." She turned to the nurse. "This man is causing me and my daughter distress. I am her medical proxy, not him. I want him removed from her visitor list. Immediately." Mark's jaw dropped. "You can't do that." "I just did," Evelyn stated. She looked at him one last time. All the love she'd ever tried to feel for him evaporated, leaving only cold, hard contempt. "Your meeting is over, Mark. So, is your marriage. Now get off my daughter's boat." Humiliated and outmaneuvered, Mark shot her a look of pure venom before turning on his heel and storming out, the whoosh of the door sounding like a final, definitive sigh. Evelyn's knees buckled. Nurse Sarah was there in an instant, guiding her back to the chair. "Breathe, Evelyn. Just breathe. You did the right thing." As Evelyn gasped for air, a miracle happened. Chloe's hand, the one she had been holding for hours, twitched. Then it tightened around her mother's fingers. Evelyn's head snapped up. Chloe's eyelids were fluttering. The nurse rushed to the bedside, checking monitors. "Chloe? Sweetheart, can you hear me? You're okay. Your mom is here. You're safe." Chloe's eyes opened, bleary and unfocused, but they found Evelyn's. They were full of confusion and fear. Her lips, chapped and dry, moved soundlessly. Evelyn leaned in, tears she hadn't been able to shed now streaming freely down her face. She kissed her daughter's forehead. "Sho, my darling. Don't try to talk. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere." She didn't tell Chloe about the yacht or the photo or the confrontation. That would come later, when her daughter was strong enough. For now, the only thing that mattered was the weak, returning pressure of Chloe's hand in hers. The battle wasn't over, but the most important warrior had just rejoined the fight. And her mother, her fierce, heartbroken, and relentless protector, would be standing guard, ensuring no one would ever hurt her again.